week 5 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few pitchers that shouldn't be part of your roster this week or for the near future. The first guy is Dustin May of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So Dustin May, he went out a few games ago with elbow injury, and the x-rays and MRIs came back, and he's going to need Tommy John surgery, so we probably won't see May for a year and a half here, and it's very unfortunate. Dustin May, he was definitely a big-time fantasy player and sleeper coming into the season here on this great Los Angeles Dodger team. So he finished the season 23 innings, a 1-1 record, 16 hits, 7 earned runs, 4 homers given up, 6 walks, 35 strikeouts, a 2.74 ERA, and a 0.96 whip with 2 quality starts. Well, right now, there's no reason to hold on to May, even if you got 4 or 5 injured list spots in your leagues. He's not coming back this season. I know some people in Dynasty and Keeper leagues might want to keep him, but this guy, he's going to have a long recovery and a long rehab to come back and get to the point where he was this season with the Dodgers. And they say after a Tommy John injury like this, it takes some pitchers 2 or 3 years to get back to the form where they were at, or they just never get back to the form at all. So right here, Dustin May, he's already been dropped in 38% of fantasy leagues, and he definitely will be dropped in more as the week goes on. Which I would look to drop Yami Garcia of the Miami Marlins. So Garcia, he was the favorite for closer role early in the season here for this Marlin team, and so far in the season, he just hasn't been producing that well. A 2-2 record on the year, 4 saves, 9 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 homers, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts, a 2.19 ERA, and a 0.97 whip here for Yami Garcia. So Garcia, he's been banged up a little the last couple days here, giving up runs and stuff, and we haven't seen him appear in a ball game since April 30th. The managers, they're getting impatient with him, and he's been dropped in 3% of fantasy leagues. So the last few outings for him, April 21st versus Baltimore, he went 1 inning in that one, got the save, clean inning, and a strikeout. April 24th at San Francisco, 1 inning he went in that one, 2 hits, an earned run, a homer for a 9 ERA and a 2 whip. And April 28th versus Milwaukee, went 1 inning, 1 hit, no save in that one. And then his latest outing, April 30th, he didn't get an out recorded in that one, got the loss, a home run and 1 earned run and an affinity ERA and whip. So right here, we haven't seen Garcia in the last 4 or 5 days here for the Marlins. And this Marlin team, they're going to struggle a lot this season and lose a lot of ball games. So right now, I don't think the save opportunities and chances are really going to be there for Garcia. So if there's a better closer, or if you want another pitcher out there who's on your free agent market and waiver wire, I would go out there and make that move and drop Garcia. The next pitcher is Jesus Lazardo of the Oakland Athletics. So Lazardo, he's going to be out now for a few weeks here with a left hand fracture, probably 4 to 6 weeks, I would say. And he got hurt playing video games. This is one of the oddest things I've ever heard here with a baseball player getting injury. It's usually something else. But here playing video games, he fractured the hand here, even though he just pitched on May 1st and he went 3 innings in that game. So that might have worsened it up. But the original injury was playing video games here for Lazardo. So he's been dropped in 10% of fantasy leagues so far. And he's still owned in 76%. But obviously, the A's aren't happy about it. Pretty much he covered up that injury and went out there and pitched. So far in the season, 28 innings, a 1-3 record for Lazardo, 33 hits, 18 earned runs, 5 homers given up, 12 walks, 30 strikeouts, a 5.79 ERA, and a 1.61 whip with 1 quality start. So right here, he was struggling even before the injury. And now with the injury on top of it, if I'm a Lazardo owner, I wouldn't feel bad now at this point to drop him, because he wasn't producing, and the injury just helps it out even more to drop him and gives you more incentive to. So the last 2 outings for him, April 25th at Baltimore, 6 2/3, got the loss, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 homers, 2 walks, 8 Ks, a 4.05 ERA, 1.35 whip, and a quality start. And then his last outing versus Baltimore, where he was pitching with the injury, 3 innings, got the loss, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, a strikeout, a 9 ERA, and a 2.33 whip. So Lazardo, he's been dropped, like I mentioned, in 10% of fantasy leagues, and he should be dropped in more here, because right now he's hurt and he wasn't getting the job done anyway. The next pitcher is Alexei Kalame of the Minnesota Twins. Kalame, he was a big off-season signing for the Twins here, many people thought. But right here, he's a guy not producing. And this Twin team, they're one of the worst teams so far in the early going of all the major leagues. So on the season here for Kalame, 9 2/3, a 1-3 record, 13 hits, 8 earned runs, 2 homers, giving up 5 walks, 10 strikeouts, a 7.45 ERA, and a 1.86 whip. So his numbers, they're abysmal right here for Kalame. And it just seems like each and every inning he's in there, he's either in trouble or giving up a boatload of hits. And the last 3 outings, they haven't been pretty as well for Kalame here. And with this Twin team struggling, there might not be any save opportunities as well for Kalame in the upcoming weeks and months here. And they'll probably demote him anyway to a setup man or a mop-up guy. But anyway, April 26th at Cleveland, he didn't get an out in that inning. Got the loss, a hit, an earned run on a homer, infinity ERA, and an infinity whip. April 27th at Cleveland, 2/3 of an inning, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 Ks, a 27 ERA, and a 4.5 whip. And then his latest outing, May 1st, in a mop-up pitching role here versus Kansas City. 1 inning, got 1 hit given up, 1 whip, no ERA. So Kalame, he's already been dropped in tons of fantasy leagues, 40-50% since last week. And he's been dropped so far this week in 3%. And I think he's a guy that should be dropped in pretty much all fantasy leagues. And the 5th and final pitcher I will look to drop this week's Tristan McKenzie of the Cleveland Indians. So he was a guy I had as a sleeper this season coming into the year, where he looked good in limited innings last season with the Indians. But so far this year, it's been a train wreck here for McKenzie. He just hasn't gotten the job done. 18 2/3, 0-1 record, 14 hits, 13 earned runs, 5 homers given up, 18 walks, 29 strikeouts, a 6.27 ERA, and a 1.71 whip, and no quality starts. And McKenzie, right now, he's batting practice, and the furthest he went into a ball game this season was only 5 innings. So one of their top prospects in the system over the last few years, he just hasn't lived up to the hype, and he's been a disappointment for the Indians and fantasy owners so far. And this Indian team, obviously, they're going to struggle this season. They're not going to win that many games after trading a couple key guys in the offseason, like Carrasco and Francisco Lindor, and losing some other guys last year at the trade deadline. So the last few starts for McKenzie, 5 innings, April 17th at Cincinnati, 5 hits, 1 earned run, a homer, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts, a 1.80 ERA, and a 1.80 whip. April 25th versus the Yankees, he only went 4 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 homers, 4 walks, 5 Ks, a 6.75 ERA, and a 2 whip. And his latest outing, May 1st, at the White Sox, he only went 2 innings, got the loss in that one. 1 hit, 5 earned runs, a homer, 4 walks, 6 Ks, a 22.5 ERA, and a 2.5 whips. On McKenzie, he just has no control. 18 walks in 18 innings so far this season, and that's a recipe for disaster. And he's been dropped already in 7% of fantasy leagues this week. And if he gets bombed in his next outing, May 6th at Kansas City, I could see definitely the Indians send them down to the alternate site. So right now, if I'm a McKenzie owner, I think he's an easy drop this week. So that's a few pitchers I will look to drop here in week 5 of the fantasy baseball season.